Where to start? I'd like to welcome everybody in the media center and all our audience. I have been contacted by the leadership of the media center so that as an advisor to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, I would inform you about the killing of Oksana Boulina, a citizen of the Russian Federation who was killed in Kyiv and worked for the Insider. Yesterday evening, near Retrouville retail center, there was a mortar shelling by Russian invaders, and as a result of that shelling, a citizen of the Russian Federation was died, Oksana Boulina. She is a journalist, an anti-Putin journalist who was against Putin regime. She was legally working in Ukraine. She had an official accreditation from General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, and she went there to that location to see the consequences of that shelling, of the destruction of Retrouville retail center. At the moment when she was there, there was mortar shelling, mortar strike with her Ukrainian citizen died, who was just there just by chance. And Mikhail Sidorenko from Podil Police District was wounded in his chest and left arm. He had been hospitalized to the Ministry of Internal Affairs hospital and had a surgery. So you see, that's a tragedy, and some Russian citizens killed another Russian citizen, and that killing of two persons with having third person wounded has been documented by the police as a murder under Article 115 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine in the in Podil District Police Department. The body of Oksana Boulina will be given to her relatives. It will be transported to the European Union, to Latvia, where her relatives live, and our police will help in doing that, because yesterday I was contacted by Timur Oleski because he got information about his good friend Oksana Boulina who died. That's information I have. If you have any questions, please ask those. Please speak into the microphone. I am Zbigniew Parafinovich from Dziennik Gazeta Prawna, Poland. Could you please tell us, why do Russian troops shell that retail center Retrouville systematically? I can tell you that Retrouville training center became target of some strong missile strike back then, and now it was just a mortar shelling. Seems to be from Hostomel direction, from Mashun direction. They're just bastards, invaders. They just kill peaceful civilians. They sometimes they just shell, they just conduct artillery shelling against Kyiv without any logic. For example, there was a Grad multiple launch system strike against Svetoshin district, and there were residential blocks hit, private buildings hit, and there was no logic in that. I just cannot explain it, even cannot explain it. They are just bastards, invaders, fascists, that's it. Any more questions? You're welcome.
It's interesting that you said that she was killed by a mortar shell, because a mortar doesn't have a range of, it has a very short range. Are you sure it was a mortar, not artillery, which has much longer range? Because if it was really a mortar, that would mean that they were extremely close. But it
was Igla. We've heard today that it was...
the mortar of 120 millimeters shells at quite a long distance. You can check it. You know, to reach northern outskirts of Kyiv, it's about 10 kilometers from Irpin. So they can just have fun, so to say. They just start shelling towards Kyiv, and that's it. Because, you know, they have been allowed to kill anybody. You heard it. When they want, they kill somebody. They're just fascists. They're having fun with that. Any more questions? I'm Viktor Melnikov from CGTN. Could you please tell us, how would you comment some statements that in that Retrouville retail center there was some ammo, and there was that video from TikTok whereby there was some tank passing that Retrouville retail center? Is it related anyhow? Is there any relationship between the shelling and existence of those armored vehicles there? I'm not to comment on that, but the death of Oksana Bolina, she just came there as a journalist to see what remained there after Vitroville was shelled by serious rockets, missiles. She just wanted, as a journalist, to document it for her audience, for her readers. We don't think that it was purposely against Oksana Bolin. I think it was just by chance. There were just 2 mines in that mortar shelling, and I see that the distance is 10 kilometers from those 120mm mortars. Thank you. Any more questions?
It's been a month since Russia started full-scale war. How would you summarize for people from abroad what is the military front situation right now after months of this war?
I can tell you that Putin has not achieved any one of his goals about Ukraine. He has not managed to siege Kyiv or Kharkiv, and Lukashenko, who had to invade the northern parts of Ukraine, Rivne, Zhytomyr and Volyn provinces, betrayed Putin and did not do that. Until now, he has not had any serious victory. They cannot even get Mariupol in 3 weeks, even though Mariupol has been completely sieged, surrounded, and our heroes have been fighting there like 300 Sparta warriors. Spartans. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. So the situation on the front line is stable. Ukrainian armed forces resist. I'm personally worried about city of Chernihiv. Yesterday, the very last road for cars has been bombed, has been destroyed, the bridge over Desna River, and there is some information whereby Russians received an order to attack Chernihiv to get some success there. They have failed with all their attacks, with all their offensive actions. You see that Russian army is not strong. We are on our land, and we are fighting them, and we will continue fighting them and destroying them. Thank you. One more question. In your view, is Lukashenko ready to help Putin in the latter's war against Ukraine? No, I believe that Lukashenko is not ready, so he keeps betraying Putin. According to our intelligence, Lukashenko had to join that war on the 3rd or 4th day, but on seeing how our armed forces and the whole Ukrainian people resist Russian aggression, he dropped those plans. Putin is trying to force him all the time, but he has not agreed as yet. And I think that every day he is even less willing to invade. But we cannot exclude 100% that Putin would finally force him to invade. Thank you. Thank you, Anton. I'd like to remind you that we had Anton Heraschenko, advisor to the Minister of Internal Affairs. Thank you for your information. Please stay with us. At 3 p.m. we'll have the speaker of